Defense headquarters assures of readiness for May 29th presidential inauguration amid speculations of security threats.
We will carry out our job in a professional manner. Even if it's one soldier there, the soldier will do what is the needful thing.
Diaspora Commission order agencies working to evacuate stranded Nigerian students in Sudan.
Inshallah, we will try our best to see that we have sensitized the general public about the importance of this census.
Plus, more states pushing awareness for the success of the 2023 housing and population census. Hello and welcome. This is NTA Network News. We are live in Abuja. I am Jummai Yusuf. Hingino John Adams joins me from Lagos. Thanks for joining us. You can follow these news broadcasts live on our website at nta.ng/live and all our social media handles displayed on the screen for updates. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the immediate suspension from office of Barrister Hudu Yunusa Ari, Resident Electoral Commissioner of Adamawa State, pending the completion of investigation by the Inspector General of Police on the conduct of the Resident Electoral Commissioner during the supplementary election in Adamawa State. The President has also directed the Inspector General of Police to immediately investigate and prosecute, if found liable, Barrister Hudu Yunusa Ari. In the same vein, the President has directed investigation by the Inspector General of Police, Director General of the Department of State Services, and the Commandant General of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps of the role of their officers in aiding and abetting the conduct of Barrister Hudu Yunusa Ari, and if found culpable, appropriate disciplinary actions to be meted out to them. President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed formal appreciation to the Socialist Republic of Vietnam for its support to Nigeria in the areas of security and economic development. This was while granting audience to the ambassador of Vietnam to Nigeria. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
The Vietnamese ambassador to Nigeria, Lung Quang Thien, was in the State House on a farewell audience with President Muhammadu Buhari, having completed his tour of duty in Nigeria. The president extended his best wishes to the envoy, whom he congratulated on his successful 3-year term. He expressed the wish that the highly beneficial relations between Nigeria and Vietnam in critical economic sectors will continue to grow. Ambassador Thien congratulated the Nigerian leader on the successful conduct of the last general elections and the widespread victory of the governing APC in both the presidential, National Assembly, gubernatorial, and State Assembly polls. He canvassed a mutual relationship between the Communist Party of Vietnam and Nigeria's All Progressives Congress. The outgoing envoy lauded President Buhari on how Nigeria admirably tackled the coronavirus pandemic, which he said affected good part of his stay in the country, and how the economy is being rebuilt. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Now, President of Ukraine, Vladimir Zelensky, has extended his warm felicitations to Nigeria's President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu on his election victory. The Ukrainian leader, in a congratulatory letter he personally signed, expressed his gladness at the peaceful conduct of Nigeria's just concluded general elections and particularly praised the victory of Tinubu as the next president of Nigeria, adding that his country is determined to further strengthen cooperation with Nigeria. Zelensky used the opportunity of the goodwill message to extend his invitation to the president-elect to visit Ukraine on a state visit as soon as he settles down in office after inauguration on May 29, 2023. In a statement by Tunde Rahman in the office of the president-elect, the Ukrainian president, who expressed gratitude for Nigeria's support for the resolution of the General Assembly of the United Nations Organization Principles of the UN Charter underline a comprehensive, just and sustainable peace in Ukraine, said he counts on the active participation of Nigeria in its practical implementation. Now talking security matters, following speculations on security threats to the 29th May presidential inauguration, the Defense Headquarters says the intelligence community is on guard. The Director, Defense Media Operations Major General Musa Madami gave the assurance at a news conference in Abuja. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa has the details.
It is the bi-weekly update on ongoing armed forces operations between 6th and 20th April 2023 across the country. Top is the rescue of 206 kidnapped victims in the northeast and the elimination of 24 unrepentant terrorists in different combats by troops of Operation Hadinkai. Of importance at this briefing is the proactive measures in place regarding the alleged pending security threat to the 29th May 2023 presidential inauguration.
People who are in the verge of trying to commit crime are being arrested. People who are moving ammunition from one point to the other, moving weapons from one point to the other to go and commit havoc are being arrested every day. We are working round the clock, both the intelligence community and the armed forces of Nigeria. We are working around the clock to make sure we nip these things in the bud. And if they happen, we respond to it appropriately.
Similarly, troops of Operation Wild Stroke responded to terrorist activities in Goma local government area of Benue State, leading to the rescue of 30 injured victims.
People are carrying AK-47 rifle all over the place. Anybody can get access to uniform and wear the uniform and come and disguise that they are military personnel. But that does not make them military personnel. Our soldiers are properly trained, and we would carry out our job in a professional manner. Even if it's one soldier there, the soldier will do what is the needful thing.
Within the period under review, a terrorist leader was apprehended in a Gabi local government area of Kaduna State. 4 suspected kidnappers were arrested from Nimba Forest in Riom, Plateau State, while 46 illegal refining sites were deactivated by troops of Operation Delta Safe in the South-South region. From the defense headquarters in Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
To electoral matters, INEC has reacted to allegations that officials deployed to supervise the Adamawa State supplementary governorship election had a meeting with a candidate in the government house, Yola, and the state was specifically targeted by the commission. A statement by INEC National Commissioner for Information, Festus Okoye, notes that it has been the standard policy and practice of the commission to deploy national commissioners, recs, and other staff from the headquarters or neighboring states for supplementary or off-cycle elections where doing so is considered necessary. INEC advises the public that these insinuations, as the Commission can only act within the provisions of the Constitution, the Electoral Act, or the electoral guidelines. To judicial matters, the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory sitting in Maitama has entertained arguments from counsel to the suspended national chairman of the Labour Party, Julius Abure, and some party members seeking the order of court to continue to restrain him from parading himself as such due to allegations of involvement in fraud and forgery. Olabode Arewa reports that the plaintiffs are seeking the court order restraining the affected officers from holding out themselves as officers of the party pending the determination of the suit.
In the weeks leading to the conduct of the 2023 general elections, one Eze Oko leveled allegations against 4 Labour Party national officers, including Julius Abure, that allegedly forged documents used to replace his name with that of another candidate during the Ebonyi Labour Party primary election. Consequently, some aggrieved party members had gone ahead to obtain a restraining order of court against Abure and the 3 other executive members from parading themselves as national officers pending the conclusion of the matter in court. Meanwhile, an Edo State High Court in Benin had, on the other hand, issued a restraining order against the removal of the 4 defendants. At the resumption of proceedings before the High Court of the FCT on Thursday, counsel for the plaintiff called the court's attention to the persistent disobedience of Abure to Justice Hamza Muazu's order, praying the court to convict him and the others for contempt.
That is an affront to the rule of law. That is an affront and flagrant disobedience to the order of a competent court of record.
The question before the court is simple: whether by the report of the police investigation, whether the 4 persons, the 4 national officers mentioned, can still continue to parade themselves as officers of the party.
His defense counsel argued otherwise, saying the plaintiffs have not complied with proper procedure or evidence in leveling allegations of fraud against his clients.
But we said that if you allege something against somebody in a criminal nature, you should have come by writ of someone so that they will come in and defend themselves.
The matter has been adjourned to May 12 for ruling. Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
The head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Dr. Folashade Yemi Esson, has called on the management of the National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies, NIMS, to rethink the entry position as well as allocate slots for federal civil servants in the senior executive course. The head of the Civil Service of the Federation made the appeal when the Director General of NIMS, Professor Ayo Omotayo, in the company of the Institute's management staff, paid her a courtesy visit in Abuja. Hamman Jabani reports.
Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Folashade Yemi, lamented that only substantive directors are considered eligible for admission, while the bar is being lowered for public servants. The head of service, however, commended NIPS for retooling the personnel in government through the conduct of courses for middle and top-level officers. The head of service concurred that a collaboration between the National Institute and the Office of the Head of Civil Service will make a better understanding of government policies and their effectiveness in moving the country forward. She acknowledged the quality of work put in by the Institute, buttressing it with the fact that in the last 3 years, a substantial number of the present crops of transformative federal permanent secretaries were products of NIPS.
Skills that you need to acquire before you can become an assistant director, deputy director.
Policy analysts that will work at this level of government should also be certified. So we are professionalizing policy analysis.
Professor Omotayo said the Office of the Head of Service, being a think tank of government, should ensure that policies are well articulated as well as executed. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
We'll be going to Sokoto to join the President General of the Supreme Council of Islamic Affairs and Sultan of Sokoto to announce the sighting of the crescent moon to herald in Eid al-Kabir.
Ramadan 1444, after hijrah of our most noble leader, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We received reports from various states and organizations on the positive sighting of the new moon at different locations. Therefore, we have accepted such reports because they have been confirmed and verified. We therefore declare that tomorrow, Friday, 21st April 2023, becomes the first day of Shawwal 1444 and the day for Eid al-Fitr. May Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward us for the ibadah to be performed in the month of Ramadan and grant us Al-Jannah Firdaus without hisab. We thank Almighty Allah for being among his servants who witnessed the holy month of Ramadan and fasted in it. As always, we thank Almighty Allah for the blessings he has been showering on our country, Nigeria, and also call on him to shower the same on the newly elected leaders of our country to steer the affairs of this great country towards sustenance of peace and stability. We also urge all Muslims, wherever they are, and especially in our great country, Nigeria, to continue to live in peace and harmony with one another at everywhere and every time we find ourselves, for our country to move forward, irrespective of religious or tribal differences. We thank Almighty Allah for this blessing on this holy month of Ramadan, and we thank him for allowing us to be part of his servants who witnessed the holy month and fasted in it, and may he grant us Al-Jannah Firdaus Eid Mubarak to all of you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
And that was the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Saad Abubakar, announcing the sighting of the crescent moon, bringing an end to the holy month of Ramadan. Let me be the first to wish you happy Eid al-Fitr. Barakah Salah. We'll take a break. When we return, more news. Do stay. President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu felicitates with Muslims in Nigeria and beyond, wishing them happy Salah celebration. In a statement by him, the President-elect thanks Allah for the grace to witness this year's Eid al-Fitr celebration after the holy month of Ramadan fast, which is a sacred spiritual obligation within the 5 pillars of Islam. Tinubu further urges Muslims and Nigerians in general to imbibe the lesson of love for one another, compassion, empathy, and love for the country to be better citizens. The President-elect, however, reiterated his readiness to work with all Nigerians, young and old, and male and female, with this opportunity to serve Nigerians in honor and dignity. Borno State's government has inaugurated a publicity committee for the 2023 Housing and Population Census, with a call on members, mainly stakeholders from the media industry and community leaders, to work for the success of the exercise. The Census Publicity Committee was inaugurated by the State Deputy Governor Umar Usman Kadafur. Umar Kirawa completes the story.
Inaugurating the 16-member Interministerial Census Publicity Committee in Borno State, the state's Deputy Governor Umar Usman Kadafur enjoined them to promote local ownership and acceptability of the national census.
Inshallah, we will try our best to see that we have sensitized the general public about the importance of this census.
The committee, according to the Deputy Governor, is mandated to carry out public enlightenment, education, and solicit support for the 2023 census.
I assure you that all the members are going to put their best to make sure that we succeed in this task ahead of us.
We have already started sensitizing people at the local government level. We have involved traditional rulers.
Population census is good for the country, so that we know our strength, we know how we can plan towards our education, towards our budgeting, and
we are going to use also the social media to ensure that we develop content.
We are going to tell our people there to enlighten our women too.
The 16-member Census Publicity Committee in Borno State is also expected to draw more support by speaking to the people in the language they understand at the grassroots for smooth conduct of the exercise in the state. In Maiduguri, Umaru Kirawa, NTA News.
President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, congratulates Muslims in Nigeria on the occasion of this year's Eid al-Fitr. Senator Lawan urges Muslims not to cease praying for wisdom for Nigerian leaders and for security, prosperity, and peaceful transition for the country. Senator Lawan noted that as elected representatives in Parliament, they will continue to provide legislative interventions to enhance the efforts of the executive arm of government towards making Nigeria a better place. Similarly, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, rejoices with Muslims across the country on the occasion of this year's Eid al-Fitr and the successful completion of the 1444/2023 Ramadan. Gbajabiamila asks Muslims to internalize the lessons, good habits that comes with the religious practice and continue in their prayers for the country's peace. In the same vein, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa CFR, on behalf of the Federal Executive Council, FEC, felicitates with the Muslim faithful on the successful completion of the Ramadan fast, as well as the celebration of Eid al-Fitr. He urged them to use the period of the celebration to continue to reflect on the purpose and lessons of the Ramadan and continue to pray for a successful, peaceful transition program on May 29, 2023. To security matters, the 9th Force Commander Multinational Joint Task Force in Jamena, Chad Republic, Major General Gold Chubisi, has assumed office with commitment to build on the successes recorded by his predecessor and to ultimately clear remnants of insurgents across communities in the Lake Chad Basin area. The new force commander took over from Major Abdul Khalifa Ibrahim, who has been deployed to the office of the National Security Advisor in Abuja. Maimuna Garba reports.
The new force commander, Multinational Joint Task Force Major General Gold Chibuisi, who had the privilege of serving in the MNJTF general area, came well prepared to serve, having known the peculiar security challenges within the theater of operation. General Gold promised to improve on the security situation with utmost seriousness as he called on the defense forces from UK, France, AU, and the Lake Chad Basin Commission, among others, to continue to support the MNJTF deliver on its mandate.
The conflict in the Lake Chad Basin has impacted the lives of the people of our dear nations and the economy. So it is expedient that this conflict be brought to an end for the benefit of all.
It is on record that attacks have dropped by as much as 60% or more in the Lake Chad Basin area. Violent extremist groups, Boko Haram and ISWAP, have been severely degraded.
Representatives of EU, UK, AU, LCBC, among other partners of the MNJTF, acknowledged the successes recorded in the fight against terrorism in the region and reiterated their unalloyed support to the new commander. After a gallant and meritorious service, Major General Abdul Khalifa Ibrahim is leaving to take up another role back home in service to his nation. From the MNJTF headquarters in Jamena, Chad, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
Now, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission NIDCOM has noted with concern the plight of Nigerian students in Sudan over the escalation of hostilities between the Sudanese army and the paramilitary group Rapid Support Forces, RSF. A statement by Abike Dabri Erewa noted that the Commission has received a letter of solicitation by National Association of Nigerian Students in Sudan for possible evacuation of students, especially those in Khartoum, the Sudanese capital, and assured that the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, which is in charge of emergency evacuations, is consulting with the Nigerian mission in Sudan and other relevant agencies. Abike Dabri Erewa therefore urged all Nigerian students in Sudan, as well as Nigerians living in Sudan, to be security conscious and calm. The federal government of Nigeria is deeply concerned about the escalation of the conflict in Sudan between the Sudan Armed Forces, SAF, and the paramilitary group, the Rapid Support Forces, which has brought death and untold sufferings to civilians. A statement by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs says the non-adherence of the warring parties to numerous international calls for a ceasefire has worsened the flight of civilians and made it impossible to embark on the evacuation. Nigeria therefore wishes to reiterate the urgent need for an immediate ceasefire. It added that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is in contact with the Sudanese authorities and has, through the Nigerian embassy in Khartoum, made an official request for permission to evacuate Nigerian students and other members of the Nigerian community who may wish to depart the country. Additionally, the Nigerian embassy has created a WhatsApp and Telegram platform for the students and other Nigerians in Sudan for the purpose of proper coordination and regular updates. Nigerians in the country are advised to remain indoors and contact the embassy on any of the following numbers: +249 90 765 0702, +234 803 698 1824, +249 90 132 5359, +249 92 440 1217. Security agencies in the Federal Capital Territory say they are not leaving anything to chance in the build-up to the Eid al-Fitr festivities. They spoke to security correspondent Onoto Yakubu in view of the recent resurgence of protest activities of members of the Islamic movement of Nigeria.
We have done adequate deployment to cater for all the praying grounds, strategic places, locations, recreational centers across the country, because or fun seekers might want to go out there. So we expect to have a seamless celebration, each free celebration. Let's be security conscious. To be safe is to feel unsafe. Suspect things around you. Raise alarm when you see. When you see something, you say something.
The Department of State Services has arrested 2 gunmen in Kano with 2 AK-47 rifles and 2 empty AK-47 magazines concealed in a bag containing food items. A statement by the DSS spokesperson, Dr. Peter Afonaya, indicates that the suspects were on transit to deliver the arms for a planned attack in one of the states in northern Nigeria. While calling on citizens to be vigilant and report suspicious movement of persons to security agencies, the DSS pledges to work with other security agencies and stakeholders to ensure adequate security during and after the celebration. The DSS equally enjoins Nigerians and operators of fun, hospitality and tourism centers to be cautious during the festive season. Let's now join Hingino in our Lagos studio for more on Network News. Hello, Hingino.
Hello, Jummai. The National Orientation Agency continues to interface with traditional leaders of various communities in Lagos State, urging them to use their revered position to promote the maxim, "Think Nigeria First," which will inevitably become an ethos of national cohesion. Lanre Gbeleyi, who went with the agency's entourage, reports.
The visit to the traditional head of Ikeja community is part of National Orientation Agency's ongoing consultations with traditional leaders on the value of peace and national cohesion among Nigerians in Lagos State. The Director General of the agency cited some incidents that happened during the just concluded 2023 elections and reactions as reasons why national unity needs to become deeply ingrained in the minds of Nigerians, especially the younger generation.
As we engage with traditional rulers and the religious leaders, we also try to engage with the youth through different platforms, online platforms, personal platforms, town hall meetings, advocacy to schools, campuses, secondary schools, both junior and senior.
The regent of Ikeja community, Prince Adekunle Agbena, corroborated with the DJ and promised to intensify efforts in ensuring the promotion of peaceful coexistence in the community.
Continue maintaining the peace in Ikeja. Like the Hausas, the Igbos, and the Yorubas, we are one in Ikeja.
The National Orientation Agency says other interface platforms such as this are already scheduled and will be carried out continually. In Lagos, Lanre Gbeleyi, NTA News.
Health practitioners the world over are working towards increasing accessibility to quality health care by building a resilient system for all. This aspiration, which is in line with the international observance, is canvassing strengthening primary health care systems to accelerate universal coverage. Adeola Komiakere reports.
Sustainable Development Goal 3 aspires to ensure health and well-being for all, including a bold commitment to end the epidemics of AIDS, tuberculosis, malaria, and other communicable diseases by 2030. It also aims to achieve universal health coverage and provide access to safe and effective medicines and vaccines for all.
7.5 years to the 2030 deadline for the SDGs. We know it can only be achieved with an adequate and well-supported health workforce.
The pandemic that ravaged nations over the past 2 years further exposed the critical gaps in the healthcare systems. Primary health care is therefore the foundation of any resilient healthcare system that can provide essential health services and preventive care for communities. Such investments, experts say, can improve health outcomes for all.
Government needs to do a lot more work to make working at primary health care centers attractive to the healthcare providers.
As the time frame for the actualization of the SDGs draws nearer, medical practitioners are renewing commitments towards improving healthcare systems for the benefit of citizens.
It's a way to create awareness among health practitioners and health researchers to continue to find solutions to the myriads of health challenges that we have all over the world.
Routine medical examination is key to achieving the globally set goals. So, how often do people check themselves?
If you are living a healthy lifestyle, you have good personal hygiene, then that way you are preventing illnesses.
Eat right, eat the right food, stay away from malnourished food.
Medical experts believe dialogues between government and key players in the health sector will help in achieving health for all. In Lagos, Adeola Komiakere, NTA News.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. The national population census is 13 days away. You count, so be counted. Time now for some messages. The news will be back shortly.
You're welcome back. Now time to join Benny Adams for business news. Hello, Benny.
Thank you, Jemai, and welcome to business. The Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, through the Industrial Training Fund, is partnering Roland Schwarz in Germany with a view to sharing technical expertise, equipment, and internship support for improved skills for industry in Nigeria.
Of industrial clusters coming up, a lot of manufacturing entities that really have to retrain, new graduates that are coming in. And we keep talking about how to bridge that gap between the young graduates and the world of work, so that not too much time is spent on retraining a graduate.
To develop the nation's human resource through the equipping of the citizenry with requisite skills for employability and entrepreneurship. And so we found a ready partner in Roland Schwarz. And this partnership to us has the potential to bring a lot of benefits and gains, not only to the Industrial Training Fund, but to Nigeria as a country.
And at the end of the day, it should be a win-win situation for both parties. On the other hand, Roland Schwarz wants to train together with the ITF the youth of a big number of Nigerians to become potential employees of Roland Schwarz in the future.
And taking a look at the market at the close of trading today, a total of 607 million shares in 4,309 deals, corresponding to a market value of 5.054 billion naira, were traded. Compared with the previous trading day, which was Wednesday, today's data shows 177% improvement in volume, 150% improvement in turnover, and 23% improvement in deals. The current market capitalization is 28 trillion naira. Transcorp Nigeria recorded the highest volume of 241 million traded shares, followed by Access Holdings with 152 million shares, and United Bank for Africa, 39.2 million shares. That is business news. Jumai, take it from here and Barkar Sallah.
Thank you, Benny. More on business news. Actually, Nigerian Export Trade House will deepen bilateral trade cooperation between Nigeria and the People's Republic of China. Executive Director, Nigeria Export Promotion Council, gave the indication in Hunan, China, with the assurance to increase Nigeria's revenue base in the domain. This is sequel to the inauguration of the 8,000 square meter warehouse with a holding capacity of 6,000 metric tons of agro-commodities in Gansha, Hunan province. Comfort Amadou reports from Hunan, China.
Nigeria and the People's Republic of China have been collaborating to strengthen both countries' economies and leverage foreign direct investment opportunities to expand business in Nigeria and China markets for a steady economy and forex inflow. This renewed alliance has birthed the establishment of the Nigerian Export Trade House in Changsha, Hunan Province, China, with the shipment of more than 20 containers of ginger and sesame seeds valued at $1.3 million to kickstart the operation of the trade house.
China was third on the top 10 non-oil export performers of about 375 million US dollars. And there is need for us to curb that trade deficit by introducing the Export Trade House.
To seek for the expansion of those goods that's on protocol list between China and Africa, particularly Nigeria.
We hope to work with Nigerian embassies in China and the relevant institutions to work on all fronts, for example, to set up overseas warehouses on both sides and other long-term economic trade investment trade cooperation so as to achieve mutually beneficial and win-win results.
We can do much more by taking advantage of the FOCAN framework on trade and investment promotion, especially it is now abundantly clear that Nigeria is an important trade partner to China.
The Nigerian Export Trade House in Hunan Province is expected to increase the visibility of Nigerian products in the People's Republic of China, considering its prominence in the Asian continent. From Changsha, Hunan Province, China, Comfort Amadu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Chinese government has designated the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, NEPC, as the competent authority in Nigeria for clearing goods and general administration of Chinese customs of exportable products from Nigeria to China. Executive Director, Nigeria Export Promotion Council, Ezra Yukushak, disclosed this in China during matchmaking of some leading Nigerian and Chinese agribusiness players in Hunan, China.
Promotion Council as a competent authority for the issuance of the general administration of Chinese custom. What that means is GACC. What that means is that before you export goods to China, you must register on that platform. It is NEPC that processes that application and make recommendations to the Chinese authority for them to accept or approve.
On the logistics, there is huge investment around the logistics area. It wants to see how do you move your goods through railway? How do we include China Import-Export Bank into this financing? It wants to see more trade line going into domestic bank and Nexim Bank. By next year, we should be able to see how do we attract a minimum of, let's say, $5 billion into Nigeria export market space.
Comfort Amadu reports that besides the general administration of Chinese customs in Nigeria, the NEPC will ensure that all overseas food manufacturers and processors comply with the Chinese import policies. Back here in Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari has said that the peaceful outcome of the 2023 general election will go down on record as one of the proudest achievements of his administration, in addition to its neutrality in the conduct of the elections. In his goodwill message to Muslims on the occasion of the Eid al-Fitr celebration to mark the end of the 30-day Ramadan fasting season, President Buhari explained that the outcomes of the elections were in line with his pledge to leave a legacy of free and fair elections. He said he is proud to have created a level playing field for all candidates, regardless of party affiliation, in order to produce a fair outcome for all. According to the president, free and fair elections are the only principles that give credibility to our democracy, because the subversion of the will of the people undermines democracy itself. The elections were so transparent that even members of his party were routed and unseated. At no point did he interfere with the process in order to give unfair advantage to anyone. On the Ramadan fast, President Buhari congratulated Muslims on successfully completing this demanding spiritual obligation. While praying to Allah to reward Muslims for their sacrifices during the fasting season, President Buhari advised that we shouldn't forget the important lessons of Ramadan, which includes improving our bond with the underprivileged and poor members of the society. According to him, abstention from food and drinks during the fasting period has made it possible for us to appreciate the situation of those who go without eating every day. We'll take a break. When we return, more reports to stay. You're watching NTA Network News. Sports Update is next.
Ahead of the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup holding in Australia and New Zealand in July, the Nigeria Football Federation has expressed optimism that the nation's senior women football team, the Super Falcons, will do well at the tournament. General Secretary of the Federation, Mohammed Sanusi, who stated this in Abuja, disclosed that the Federation has mapped out strategies that will ensure that the team gets all the administrative logistics needed for the competition.
I can tell you that the usual thing where you say, oh, we are not going to train you, you have not been paid, oh, you are not going to see that one. It is part of the destruction. Last time, it was part of what affected the team's performance. They were doing very well.
In the meantime, activities commemorating the 2023 IBB Golf Club Captains Cup enter penultimate day Friday, with winners expected in the tennis events. Earlier on Wednesday, Kamaru Bako grows 6-8 to win the professional category, while men's handicap 13-18 tees off Friday. In the championship, organizers believe will increase the passion for golfing.
It's going to be a very competitive tournament because we have some of the best players in the country who will be participating.
And in tennis, 5th seed Stefanos Tsitsipas Thursday advanced to the quarterfinals of the 2023 Barcelona Open after a comfortable stress-set 6-3, 6-2 victory over Denis Shapovalov. Italy's Yannick Sinner also made it to the last 8 following a 6-1, 4-6, 6-3 win against Japan's Yoshihito Nishioka. With sports updates, I am Chukunonso Nwabweze, NTA News.
Now let's take a quick look at the weather prospect for Friday, Nigeria and other parts of the world.
Hello out there and you're welcome. We have this band of rain clouds by the northern part of Cameroon bearing down on the eastern flank of the country. There's good energy ahead which should sustain as well as aid the buildup of this rain cloud, giving us prospects of morning thunderstorms to southern parts of Taraba by Friday morning. This prospects also there over the central states, picking up Benue State, the Federal Capital Territory, Nasarawa, parts of Plateau, and the southeastern part of the country. This range should be between light to moderate rainfall. The prospects are slimmer to the southwestern part of the country and parts of Niger and the area around southern Kebbi State. Very slim prospect. We may just end up being mostly cloudy. But in the afternoon, the prospect of thunderstorm extends to the northern part of the country, where we're looking towards the southern parts of Borno, parts of Adamawa, through Gombe, Bauchi. The high grounds of the central state, speaking about Plateau State and northern part of Nasarawa, extending to parts of Kaduna State, where prospects of thunderstorm are there. We also have prospects of rains in the evening over the southern area, extending to the southwestern part of the country and the western flank of the nation. And to the extreme northern part of the country, more of cloudy conditions should persist. I leave you with the forecast over other cities across the country.
And that's it on Network News tonight. Thanks for watching. I am Jumma Yusuf.